You're watching Elder Baseball live on EH Sports. Welcome to the beautiful Panther Athletic Complex where the Elder Panthers and Silver Knights clash for the sixth total time in program history. Last meeting ended in a 13-4 victory for the Elder Panthers on May 16th of last year. Panthers on a two-game win streak overall this season, and they won last game against Coleraine, and the last game for Summer Country Day. They're also coming off a win versus CHCA. They had a three-game series against CHCA where they won that series 2-1. Once again, it's Elder Baseball, and it's live on EH Sports. Thank you for joining us here live from Jack Adams Stadium. I'm Troy Parker alongside Eric Mason. Eric, what do you got on this game?
Well, Troy, this is going to be a great game. You know, in past years, for Elder, it's been kind of a blowout against Summit. And that's just kind of how what the fact is. But Summit has got some really good players, one of which, Grayson Houchin. He is in the top 5 of the MVC stats of average, home run, or ERA, wins, and strikeouts. He's pitched today. He's going to be the starting pitcher. He's also in the 4-hole. He's easily their best defender, and he's their best guy on offense. So we're going to see him on both sides of the field today. He is third in average with 514. He's tied for second with home runs with 3. Has an ERA of .46. It's more of a batting average than ERA.
So we're underway. Dylan Willover on the mound for the Panthers. He's got 9 strikeouts on 15.1 innings pitched with a 3.65 ERA. Second pitch misses just high. 1-1. We are fully underway. That one turned on to left center. Chumley tracking it down. He's got it for the first out.
The flag out there in left field is at a standstill. Not too much wind. Of course, as I say that, it starts blowing a little bit. So not too much wind today. It's not going to be affecting the ball in the air too much. Just a few slight breezes here and there.
That's quick work of Philibom. The one-hole hitter now on to Gavin Miller. The pitch. Breaking ball finds the outside, 0-1.
Miller in his last game went 0 for 2 with an RBI.
That one swung on. What a catch at third for Jack Rosenacker.
The hot corner and jumping jack. My man, that's crazy.
That ball came off the bat hot. That's a great grab.
That's a base hit every day of the week, except for today, I guess. The Monday snoozes. Well, Rosenacker was a snoozer over there at third base, that's for sure.
Lucas Redder at the bat takes ball 1. The pitch finds the outside corner once more, worked his way to a 1-1 count. Willenweber looking to make quick work of this first inning.
Reeder was 2 for 3 against the HCA.
That one swung onto the opposite field. Misjudged it over the head of Justin Mazza in right. Reeder will round first, heads for second, round second, heads for third. And it's a sliding triple. Got past him, but it got a lucky bounce. It's a triple for Lucas Reeder.
That was one hit ball there, but it definitely should have been the third out of the inning. Massa just completely misjudged the flight path of that one. And, you know, it's tough. I mean, you got the sun right there. It's getting ready to start setting, so it can be in the eyes of some of these outfielders, and you can tell it was struggling with Massa a little bit, but flat out just really misjudged that one. It's costly. Now you got a guy in scoring position.
That one finds the outside corner once more. Seems like he's kind of taking advantage of the umpire's outside calls. 0-1. Find what the umpire likes and attacks it. Check swing. Did he go? He did not.
Great pitch by Willenweber.
Yeah, nice kind of chase pitch down low. 1-1 count. Back over to third. closer than I expected. Nice tag from Rosenacker.
That was close. Yeah, Reeder doesn't seem to be the fastest guy on the team. Did pull the triple out, though.
Pitch. Opposite field into the bullpen. One-two count, 2 outs, runner on third. Willen Weber trying to get out of this inning. Foul stays alive. The pitch. 1-2, got him for strike 3. So in 4 batters, Willen retires the side. We'll be right back here on EA Sports. Welcome back to Jack Adams Stadium. Let's take a look at your Elder Panthers starting lineup. Leading off for the Panthers, Mason Chumley, the center fielder, the senior. Jared Lammers over at second. And Jack Rosenacker hits the 3-hole. Carson Smith in the 4. Dylan Wollenweber also pitching today. He's in the 5 spot. Justin Mazza over in right. Roger Waddell, the shortstop. And Charlie Schroeder and Kyle Bean. That's your starting 9 for your Elder Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, a solid lineup there. And the thing is, it seems like Coach Thompson is starting to rotate guys in a little bit more, especially since they had, they didn't have they didn't have a long losing streak, but they had a long series of games where they lose a lot, win a couple, and especially in those GCL runs. So there's a lot of guys who weren't stepping up who really wish they could have been. So now starting to rotate in some guys towards the end of the lineup.
So Mason Chumley starts us off.
Panthers' last game was at Hobner Field against Cole Rain. Pretty much everybody on the team batted, so. And Mason went 1 for 2.
The pitch. This is high and outside. As Grayson Huchin starts his outing. Definitely Summit's best pitcher. Pitch turned on and foul. Hits off the middle pole.
Yeah, Huchin has a career ERA of 2.20 and a whip of 1.34. Currently second in the MVC for ERA with .46. Also wins tied for first with 5.
Nice breaking ball from Huchin. 1-2. 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled. Staying alive in the at-bat with 2 strikes. Something the Panthers, I think, have struggled so far in the season is protecting the plate with 2 strikes. Chumley has not been any exception to that either.
Yeah, struck out 15 times so far in the year.
The 1-2. Swung on, sent to second. Reinhardt easily gathers it for out number 1.
Something Hoochin would really help him here is just getting a 1-2-3 quickly in this first inning. Just getting the outing started. Just get that first inning out of the way, the top of the lineup out of the way.
Try to replicate Wollenweber's start with 2 straight outs.
Yeah, and I do believe it's going to be a pitcher's duel today. It's going to be tough for the Panthers to put up a bunch of runs here today.
Jared Lammers now up for the Panthers. Take the first pitch, and it's a strike in there for strike number 1. 0-1. Kicks, fires. Nice little movement on that pitch. Misses outside, 1-1.
Lammers against Coleraine went 2 for 4 with 1 run and double.
On a miss up high. Wanted to swing at it, but denies. 2-1. The 2-1. Will miss high as well. Hitters count 3-1. Seems to hold that ball a little bit farther, a little bit longer. Get that pitch down. The 3-1. Finds the zone, works his way to a full count. I don't think Lammers liked it either.
Yeah, the thing that also hurts is that the catcher was set up outside and he missed low and inside, so it makes it look like even more than a ball.
The payoff pitch. Swung on, through a hole. Jared Lammers kicks off the party.
Now that's a definition of a seeing eye single. Right through that gap, perfectly placed ground ball, and that's a perfect 2-strike approach. Hit it the other way, choke up on the bat, did put a barrel on it, made some solid contact, but he wasn't swinging very hard. He's like, hey, I'm just going to fight this one off. It's a 3-2 count. I'm looking to be aggressive, but I'm also looking to get on base. We're not going to be swinging and missing here, and he did it perfectly. Took the outside pitch, hit it the other way, right through the gap, and now he finds himself on first base.
First pitch to Rosenacker, misses high. 1-0.
Now something Jack should really focus on here is hitting it in that right center gap. Hit it that opposite field, allowed for Lammers to get a better chance of getting to third base if he can get it into the outfield. Last thing you want to do is get a ground ball here for a double play.
The 1-0. Misses way high.
And this is why those first innings can be tough for pitchers, because you might not have your command all together yet. You're still trying to figure out what pitches you really are feeling that day, what pitches aren't going to work that day. And Hoochin seems to be feeling it himself with his fastball.
2-0. I want to miss, believe low. 3-0 count. See if he gets the green light. 3-0 count.
I do not expect Jack to be swinging here. Looks like he is. Getting very antsy in the box.
I want to find the zone. 3-1.
Now this is where, as a hitter, you're probably going to find yourself a pretty pitch, so I wouldn't expect a take here.
Back over to first in time. 3-1 count to Rosenacker with 1 out. Lammers on first. Hoochin kicks, steals. Late on it, fouled it. Full count. Back-to-back batters with full counts. That's tough for a pitcher.
Yeah, something I noticed from Hoochin's last start is he went the full distance, 7 innings, also threw 101 pitches with 60% strikes. He's not quite at that 2/3 threshold, and so that makes it to where he's getting deep in counts. The funny thing is, despite the low strike percentage, only one walk in that 7 innings. That was last Monday against CHCA. So he's getting into deep counts. He's finishing them, but he's getting the pitch count high.
That one sent to third. Take the easy play over to first. So advances the runner, but makes it with 2 outs. Tough at bat for Rosenacker. Was ahead 3-0 in that count. Saw some strikes, swung at him, and nice job from Huchin to battle back.
Yeah, and as I was saying, it's what we're seeing from his last outing. He's going to get deep in counts. Now, he does seem to fight back and finish out the at-bat, but early in it, he's throwing too many balls, giving the batter too many pitches to just watch go by.
Two outs now with a runner in scoring position for Carson Smith, the veteran catcher. The pitch. Breaking ball misses high. 1-0.
Hooch is already thinking, I'm not controlling my best stuff right now. I'm not getting that spin on that breaking ball that I would like to see it. I'm not locating that fastball. That's where you just get in the mindset of pitch to contact. Let your fielders do the work. Don't worry about throwing a bunch of strikeouts. Even though he does have a lot of strikeouts, he has about 50 on the year, 4th in the MVC. But when you don't have your best stuff, you're not going to get those results. That's where you just try to throw low in the zone, throw consistent in the zone, and let your fielders do your work. Get those ground balls, get those double plays, and that's something you love as a pitcher.
That one sent to the opposite field and right. Should be an easy play for Rich. Made a meal out of it, makes the out. So that's 3 through 4 batters. We'll take a quick break live on EH Sports. So earlier today, it was a bench in the bullpen dedicated to Mr. Adam Baum, and we have him up in the booth. We'll get to him in 1 second. Yeah, it's a beautiful bench built by here in the press box. Mr. McComas built that a couple years ago, I believe. And it's a cool story about in the 05 state team, Mr. Adam Baum was the bullpen catcher for that team, and here he is right now.
Thank you guys for having me. It's an honor to be back. This is I never got to play here. When I was in high school, we played down at Hilly Field, which looked and felt very different than this place does. And the bullpen's much nicer here. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a very nice bench. So as a bullpen catcher, what's exactly your responsibilities?
Just get that pitcher ready, any way you can, whatever you got to do. I wanted them, when they went out there on that mound, they had to be ready. Loose but focused. And, the first 17 games of that state championship season, we started undefeated. So I was like, all right, I'm doing something right. We're 17-0. But, yeah, it was fun. It was a new experience for me. I grew up playing baseball. But when I got to Elder, you kind of realize, like, yeah, I'm not good enough to play with these guys, but maybe there's a way that I can still be involved. So that
Exactly. So is that kind of a conversation you had with Coach Thompson? Say, hey, I'd love to be part of the program, just kind of help out.
exactly. I was fortunate. Coach Thompson's son Rob, we have the exact same birthday. We were born in the same hospital. We both played baseball against each other growing up, so I got to know Rob and his dad. And when I got to Elder, it was kind of like, hey, I'm looking for something else to do, something to keep me busy. I love being a part of a team, and that was just a pretty natural conversation. My dad was a baseball guy. He was a catcher, so I was like, hey, you need someone to get the pitchers ready. And he was kind enough to let me do it. And here we are.
So did your dad go to Elder or no?
My dad was actually an Oak Hills guy, but he became an Elder guy. My big brother went to Elder. I went to Elder. And, my dad, rest in peace, he's not around anymore. But you would have been hard-pressed to find someone who cared more about purple than my old man. So
Oh, it's infectious for
it
sure.
really is.
So when you guys were doing that state run, what was the feeling like in the clubhouse? What was that adrenaline like, knowing you're getting ready to play in a state championship game, and just throughout the entire playoff run?
Yeah, it was really cool. And, like this might come off as cocky, but for me, I remember throughout that season, it was like it didn't matter who was pitching. It didn't matter who was fielding or who was hitting. I just always felt so good about who we were running out there on a given day. And honestly, it felt like I don't care who we're playing, like we're going to win. I remember that year, Moeller was kind of the darling. They had some big-time players, big-time recruits, guys that went on to play professional baseball. Everyone was talking about Moeller, and we stomped them. And I think that was the game where it was like, okay, we kind of got something here. And then you get into the playoffs, and it was like Charlie Leisman, who threw out the first pitch tonight, he was darn near unhittable. When you have an ace like that, and then you have guys behind him who can come in. And the crazy thing is, to get to the state championship game, you want to ensure that you get there, right? So you don't save your best pitcher for the state championship. Maybe if you have two really good arms, you can kind of throw off your ace and protect him and save him. But so we threw Charlie in the state semifinals, and Matt Clausing, who was also here today, he comes in the state championship game and throws a complete game shutout to win state. That's just the type of team that we had that year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team that you need to win those state championship games. As you said, depth. So, like, what was the depth chart like? Did you guys have – how many pitchers would you say you had on that team?
Yeah, I think when you get to the postseason, the rotation shortens up a little bit. But honestly, throughout the regular season, it felt like we had 7 starters that we could rely on. And then Rob, who's an assistant on this team, he was one of the nastiest closers, bullpen pitchers. Back in his day, he's a lefty. He would drop all the way down. He'd throw this sidearm, and he could throw really hard. So it was like you play the whole game going against a traditional pitcher, and then at the end of the game, you see this left-hander who's dropping down past 90 degrees, throwing sidearm at you. And it was very hard for opposing teams to deal with. So we were built really differently that year.
It's literally like the Nasty Boys.
Yeah.
You know that when that bullpen came in, you're done.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about the bench a little bit. What's it feel like to go from like a unsung hero of a bullpen catcher to now you got a bench dedicated to you in the bullpen? What does it feel like?
It feels great. I think for me, when you're a manager or you're a bullpen catcher, right? Like it's not about you. It's about everyone else. And my approach was always like I wanted to be a great teammate. I wanted to do the stuff that needed to get done and not complain about it. So I tried to always bring energy and just be a guy that lifted everyone else up. And it's like we're 2 decades removed from that. And it's like, guys showing up that I haven't seen in 15, 20 years almost. And it means a lot to know that they still kind of remember that. And, yeah, it's like you don't think about that stuff when you're in high school, like, oh, what is ever going to come of this, right? And you just kind of take it one day at a time, be yourself, do the best that you can, and here we are today. And it's like, that bench will be here for hopefully ever. So that's pretty cool. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great bench. I've sat on it a couple times. It's a great bench. But what kind of, like, life lessons does it come with being a team manager for Elder? Like, what are some things that you kind of took from your high school experience and you took on for the rest of your life?
Well, like selflessness was a big one. I remember, we would have a bad game or something, and Coach Thompson would make us run. And I always made a point of, I'm going to run. Even when I don't have a jersey, I don't have a uniform with a number on it, I'm never going to get in a game. And Coach would always say to me, like, hey, you don't have to do that. And I said, I want to do it. Like, whatever these guys have to do day in and day out, I want to be a part of it. So I would shag fly balls. I would clean up the bench. I would just do all those little things, and that helped me really feel like I was a part of the team. And honestly, the guys who were out on the field, who were producing and, who people came to actually watch and see, those guys appreciated it. So that was all that I really needed, but really selflessness, right? Like, when you're in a position like that, it's not about you. It's about everyone else. So it was always about the team.
So was it tough for you going into high school and realizing you weren't actually going to be able to play for Elder?
It was and it wasn't, because my baseball career had kind of fizzled out before I ever got to Elder. I kind of pivoted and I played football. And we could do a whole show about football, honestly, because I have one of the more astounding records in Elder football history. And I'm sure you guys are both curious, so I'll have to tell you. I played fullback, and I finished my senior year with negative rushing, negative receiving yards, and I scored a touchdown. And to my knowledge, I'm the only person in Elder football history who's ever done that. So I had a negative 4-yard run against St. Ed's. I caught a pass in the backfield for negative 1 yard against Bishop Chatard, and then I had a 1-yard touchdown run against West High. So, yeah. So, but to answer your question, like, when I got to Elder, I was more focused on football. But baseball was just like, I always loved being in the dugout and, being a part of the game. Even if you're just yelling at the opposing pitcher, that was something I always loved about baseball, was how free you could be out there when you're on the field. So it was a way for me to get involved.
So what all were you involved with? Was it just football and baseball, or did you do other stuff around campus?
Yeah, it was primarily football and baseball. I mean, I was fortunate. I had a lot of friends, and I was in French club and I did things like that. But when I was in high school, it was primarily about trying to be a big-time college football player. That never happened. And I think as I realized the writing was on the wall, that might have been part of what drew me to being part of Elder baseball, right? And, sitting here today, it's kind of crazy because I got a state championship ring for baseball. I was also a sophomore on the 2003 football state championship team. So somehow, for someone who didn't really do a ton on the field or accomplish a great deal statistically or personally, I walked out of this place with 2 state championship rings, which is pretty ridiculous.
That is that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. You're at the highlight years of Elder football for
True.
sure. So, looking at your life now, what all are you into?
So I was a longtime sports writer for the Cincinnati Enquirer. So when I was a freshman in college, I went to the University of Cincinnati. My journalism career started at Elder. You guys will appreciate this, but my senior year, when you're a junior and a senior, you kind of have a little more freedom to make your schedule. And I had my entire senior year planned out except for my last period of the day, 7th period. I was between astronomy and journalism. I found out that journalism was taught at the time by Mr. Rearing, and it was in the last classroom in the Shaper Center, and my parking spot was right outside the Shaper Center door. So I knew every day when that bell rang, I could pop out of that room, get in my car, and I wouldn't have to sit in traffic. I'd beat everyone else out of the parking lot. So it was actually laziness that got me interested in journalism, and it turned out that I fell in love with it. I got to UC. An opportunity opened up at the Cincinnati Enquirer where I could answer phones, take high school box scores, and I just really fell in love with the whole everything. I would get to read the next day's newspaper the night before when it was being printed, and I used to dream about, oh man, one day I want my stories to be in there, and it turns out that came true. I got to cover high school sports in this town for about 10 years, and then I got promoted. I got to cover Xavier men's basketball for the final 5 years. And then I decided to leave it behind, and now I'm doing something pretty cool. I work for a media production company here in town called 1831. We produce podcasts. We just launched daily programming. We've done a couple long-form docuseries. So this new endeavor it's introduced me to a lot of things beyond writing that I never really thought about or never experimented with. And now that I'm in it, I'm like, okay, there's way more that I can do than just tell a story, right? Like I can work a camera. I've been learning how to audio engineer. These are all things that, I'm 38 years old and I'm doing stuff that's very new, very foreign, very different to me every day. And I think when you get older, you can kind of get complacent and you get stuck in the same rhythm, the day to day. And I'm not stuck at all, so that feels pretty cool.
Did you speak at Elder a couple years back?
I did.
You did, yes. You were talking about that story, and I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar.
Yeah, I thought the same exact thing. I'm
yeah,
like,
because that was when I was trying to figure out my schedule as well, and you were talking about journalism. And I'm like, yeah, let's try it out. See it, and I love it. So yeah, so thank you for coming in and talking about that.
Yeah.
That was sweet. I just thought how funny that was, like pure laziness. I'll just throw my schedule. It's close to my parking spot.
Exactly.
But you never know where it'll take you. I
No,
guess.
you don't. Yeah. Sometimes the best things come from really unexpected places.
Oh, for sure. That's a line right there.
That's a line.
That should be on a T-shirt. So, what do you love most about what you're doing now, like your career and all that?
Well, I love that, at its core, we're still telling stories, right? They might be very different than writing a story that someone's going to read and it has my byline on it, right? I got a lot of joy out of that for a really long time. Now it's like I get to solve problems every day, which is really fun. Sometimes it's exhausting, but we have 4 hours of live daily programming or 5 hours of live daily programming every day. We're currently working on a long docuseries about an FC Cincinnati player. We've got some static, like weekly podcasts, one with Richard Pitino, who's Xavier's head coach. We had the Sean Miller podcast a few years ago. So I think if anything, right, it's like it's never boring. And from a day-to-day, I could be working a camera, I could be running audio, I could be lining up interviews, I could be working on our website. Like I get to do something different every day, which is really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So with the Enquirer and stuff, did you start working with them in college?
Yeah, I was a freshman at UC actually, and I was at a party on campus, and I ran into one of my best friend's older brothers who happened to work at the Enquirer, and he had gotten a job at a paper in Massillon. And he was like, "What are you studying?" And I said, "Journalism." And he said, "Well, I'm about to leave the Enquirer. They're looking to replace me. Do you want me to put in a good word for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, please." So I got an interview. And literally my job for the first 5 years that I was there was part-time nights and weekends. And it doesn't work like this anymore, unfortunately, because of the way technology has evolved and, newspapers aren't as big of a deal anymore. At least the physical print newspaper isn't. But I would sit there every night. I'd wait for the phone to ring. It would be a high school head coach or an athletic director or an assistant coach. And I would take the box score. It could be any sport. It could be football, baseball, softball, basketball, whatever season it was. And then within that, you would have some freedom of, oh, this kid threw a no-hitter tonight. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get him on the phone, maybe write a little story, and see if they have space for it in the newspaper. So I would always try to jump at those opportunities to write whenever I could. And it didn't always work its way into the newspaper, but it was still, I was sharpening that skill. I was getting more comfortable with it. And then slowly but surely you work your way up and they start to offer you, hey, we need someone to write this swimming story or this track and field feature. And I just jumped at every opportunity that I had. And by the time I graduated from UC, I think I had something like 300 personal bylines, which is it's kind of crazy for a kid graduating from college to have that many professional bylines. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, so did you kind of build up those connections with the guys in the Enquirer just solely of the stuff that you did for them?
Yeah, it was I just volunteered for everything. I was like, there were stories that no one else wanted to write. I'm not going to mention any sports by name to disparage them because I think they all work hard, and if people are playing them, that means they have a passion for them, right? But there are some stories that are more glamorous than others, and I never shied away from the ones that no one else wanted to do. So I would jump at the chance to do everything, and I think that went a long way with the other people at the Enquirer who made decisions, who decided who to promote or who to give stories to. And then, at the time, Paul Doherty was a columnist at the Enquirer, and I grew up reading him, and there were guys like Tom Gresham and Bill Cook and these really like veteran sports writers that I looked up to and I admired. And I remember, you'd sit at your kitchen table on a Sunday reading the sports section, and it's like, okay, I get to work with that guy now. And, I'd read their stories the night before they got printed. So it was like, the things work out the way that they're supposed to sometimes, and I'm really grateful for that.
So, if you could give some advice to like some of the elder students who are watching now, what would that be?
Well, I think like really impressed by what you two guys are doing and the operation that Elder has put together. I know Adam Duell has put a ton of work into it. I know I'm going to leave some people out. I think Gary Rogers helps out a lot. But like the opportunity that you guys have right here, right? And you might not think about it in the moment. You might think, hey, it's pretty cool. I get to call a baseball game on the air right now. But like when you get to the next stage of your career, you get to college, you're going to be in class with people who want to do this or something like this, who have never done it, who don't know what this does, who don't know how to set up all these cords and all these cables. You guys are gaining valuable experience right now that a lot of people aren't going to have access to by the time they get to college. But I think like a lot of people like to say follow your passion. I think it's more like figure out what you can be really good at, right? And if this is something that you're passionate about and you're willing to invest your time and your effort and your energy into it, then pretty soon you're going to understand or you're going to realize, hey, am I good at this? And if you can be good at it and get good at it, then you've got a head start on everyone else who's still trying to figure out what they want to do. But I think, take chances, be open to opportunities as they come to you. And, I'm just every time I come to an Elder sporting event or I open up Twitter and I see what the Elder News Network's doing, I'm just floored by what this has all become, because this did not, like, we had the purple quill and that was pretty much it when I was at Elder. So you guys have like a leg up on so many other kids your age, which is really cool.
Trying to stay humble here. So so you went to UC. What was your collegiate experience like? With UC, like what kind of programs did you get yourself involved with there?
Yeah, I mean, I probably had not the most traditional college experience because I made the decision very early on. I wanted to pay my way through and not take out any student loans. And I know saying that in 2026, a lot of people are going to roll their eyes. But like back in 2006 to 2010, the price to attend UC as an in-state student was not that ridiculous. I could very easily work a couple part-time jobs and pay my tuition as I went and pay for my books without having to take out these giant student loans. So my college experience was very much centered around like going to class and working 2 jobs. So I had the Enquirer job at night, and then I had a part-time job during the day at Paycor with actually my mom, who was here tonight. She worked in the tax seasonal department at Paycor, and my job there was literally, like, you guys are going to laugh, but I put papers in client number order all day. And I would listen to like podcasts and stuff in my headphones. But my college experience was like, hey, I got to pay for this. So I didn't do what most people do when they go to college. And that's okay. I'm okay with it. There are many ways that you can spend your time in college.
I'm sure not a lot of people are spending their time filing papers. That's for sure.
That's true.
Well, that's awesome. Paying your way through college, because I know it's very difficult now, just
now
with how expensive it is.
Yeah, it's gotten a little different. I think I might need 4 part-time jobs today to
That's
do
a
it.
lot of filing.
A lot of filing.
Numbers.
Yeah, the filing folders get repetitive there. But so with like, are you still like involved with kind of like what UC is doing over there? And
I pay attention to everything, and like I said, I ended up having to cover Xavier for 5 years, and I got a deep appreciation for what Xavier's all about too, right? So I still follow UC. I still follow Xavier. I think this town is way more interesting when all the programs are good. I know that's asking a lot, but I crave the day when we have a Skyline Chili Crosstown shootout where both teams are ranked in the top 10 or just ranked in general. That'd be nice.
yeah, because my dad, he always talks about, He's like, Eric, if you have the chance, get out of this town. And I'm like, what's wrong with this town? Like, what's wrong with Cincinnati? And I realized, like, you know, like, this is a pretty special city. It's not too big to where it's like the New York level. It's not too small because, like, we have professional sports.
Yep.
And it's like we got multiple D1 colleges. We got multiple professional sports. And, like, they're all playing each other. And it's just such a good environment. And, you know, talk about, like, the high school level. I mean,
Yep.
all these teams, you got the GCL here, some of, like, the best high school competition because, like, you see in, like, the movies, like, high school, you look at High School Musical or something like that, and they say, like, high school baseball means nothing. Like, it's just another thing to do in high school. Over here in Cincinnati, it's, like, one of the big things to do.
Yep.
And that's just something that, like, I just love about this city. It's like everything with sports is such a big deal. It doesn't really matter, you know, what sport it is. I mean, you talk about the bowling team. You don't think bowling would be on the map at all. And it was, like, one of the main attention pieces in our winter sports because they went to the state championships. You know, we don't have to say who they lost to or anything. But it was a fantastic just environment being there because people take the sports seriously. So, you know, what have you noticed out of, you know, Cincinnati sports compared to, like, outside cities and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think the passion speaks for itself. You know, I remember when I covered high school sports, and some of my favorite events to go cover were like the state wrestling meet or the state swimming meet. I did state track and field for many years, and it was always like you would get up there and everyone was super into it, right? But there was something about the Southwest Ohio schools that was just a little different, right? When you go to Keating, not Keating, but the name of the natatorium where the high school swimming and diving state championships are held, and it was like St. X is there, and that whole place is filled with Bomber Blue, right? It's just there's something different about when a team from down here has success. I think it reverberates louder than any other region in the state. But, yeah, to your point, right? Like now we have FC Cincinnati. We have the Reds. We have the Bengals. We have UC. We have like the opportunities in this town, and people are so entrenched in who they follow and who they support. I think it's created like this really interesting dynamic within the city that I have felt since I was a kid, and it hasn't dipped at all. It's remained pretty constant.
Yeah, so you know, talking about when you were a high schooler, what was the GCL rivalries like when you were in high school?
Yeah, I mean, you guys might laugh a little bit, but like we didn't pay too much attention to LaSalle and Moeller when I was in high school. It's like, yeah, they were rivals. We wanted to beat them, of course, but it was always about St. X. That was like every sport, that was the one that we had circled. And now I feel like the rivalries have kind of really balanced out, right? Maybe you guys would disagree, but I feel like a Moeller game hits quite the same as the St. X game does, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, all the GCL schools are, you know, pretty good. I mean, you look at the last basketball season, like, everybody says LaSalle's the doormat every year. They are putting together some very good seasons in basketball. They're also holding their own in football, and, you know, all the schools are doing a really good job. So, Troy, you got anything else to say with that?
Yeah, we had to take a quick break here on EH Sports and Fox 19.3. We'll be back for the top of the third. Welcome back to Jack Adams Stadium. So, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to Mr. Adam Baum. He's asked to go tend to the audience, but it's great to have him here.
Yeah, I really appreciate this. And like I said, I remember when this place got opened, Jack Adams Stadium, I came here for the Enquirer and I wrote a story about it. And I was like, at the time, I think I was one of the only people up here, except for maybe the public address announcer. And now it's like I come up here, you guys got all this gear, this equipment. This is really cool what you're doing, and keep it going. I'll keep an eye out. And I think 19.3, right? The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell people.
Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you guys.
Nice
I
to meet
enjoyed
you.
it. Take care of yourselves.
That one swung on, sent straight up in the air to left field. Actually, no, it went short enough for Roger Waddell to catch it out and short. So to kind of recap on what you missed there in the bottom of the second for the Panthers. Panthers load the bases, and Kyle Bean strikes out looking, and then a ground out to short ends the inning. A tough break for the Panthers with the bases loaded. Misses outside. Yeah, we were just talking about earlier about Panthers trying to get better at two-strike approaches, and then you see Kyle Bean strike out on a 3-2 count with bases loaded and one out. That's not a good look.
Yeah, not what you want to do there for sure. And it's always super frustrating when you do end up doing that, because a lot of times it's just that mentality of saying, if a walk scores a guy here, and it's like, I just want to score a guy. And you're so focused on that walk that you end up striking out.
That one will stay in play to the right side. Charlie Schroeder, the first baseman, tracks it down.
I wasn't sure if that was going to stay in or not. It just kind of curved back in, luckily for the Panthers.
One thing we didn't talk about, Ryan Smith, now on the bump for the Panthers. That one swung on to left field. Bean's got his sights on it. Diving play. And it looks like he got it. He did. He had one of those plays earlier that he missed in the top of the second and makes up for it in the top of the third. What a play by Kyle Bean.
I honestly almost thought that one kind of dropped on the ground. It was very hard to see. The pole's kind of blocking our view here. But Bean, he had a bad track on it, and then he makes up for it with that athletic catch. Great job by Kyle Bean to end out the inning.
So we'll take a quick break. Live on EH Sports. Panthers back out to bat for the bottom of the third. Welcome back to Jack Adams Stadium. I'm Troy Parker alongside Eric Mason. Jared Lambert leads us off for the Panthers.
Yeah, I wonder if the Panthers are trying to kind of give all their starting pitchers some reps today, because Woolen Weber, was he pitching bad?
No,
he wasn't pitching bad at all. Putting Smith in next, and maybe he's only going to go a couple innings. and then who knows will come in after that. But what I do know is, you got, was it playoffs next week? Is that when it starts? Against Hamilton?
I'll have to fact check it, but that seems right.
Yeah. I know the first game's against Hamilton. Not quite sure when that date is, but I know they're trying to get guys ready for those playoff appearances.
I'm hearing from Kellen Cox up here, our camera guy. May 18th?
May 18th?
That sound right?
Yeah, that's next Monday.
I want to miss just a bit inside. 2-0. 3-0, excuse me.
Wonder if Kellen knows if it's at home or not.
The all-knowing Kellen Cox up here in the booth.
Almost all knowing.
3-0. Find the zone, 3-1. Three-one pitch. Finds the zone once again. Another at-bat from Huchin, where he's down 3-0 and the count battles back to a 3-2, and he's gotten them out every single time, so if he try to continue that streak.
Yeah, and with that comes a high pitch count, currently at 55 pitches.
The payoff pitch inside for ball 4.
Yeah, he's getting to those full counts and then drawing walks, or he's striking guys out, and it's not going to help him in the long run. In the last inning, bases loaded with a few Panther mental errors. Get out of it. Get out of that jam.
He walked the bases loaded. Mazza, Waddell, and Schroeder all walked 3 in a row. Not quite as much as 7 in a row as we saw from the Reds a couple series ago.
Now talk about that. We could talk about that for a while. That's rough.
That one sent straight up in the air. This one might not leave the infield. Tracked down by Miller. Short for out number 1. So Carson Smith, the veteran catcher. He's 0 for 1 on the day.
Smith, one of the better hitters for Elder, batting .328 on the year through 64 at-bats leading up to this game. Only 11 strikeouts on the year also. That's not bad at all.
I want to find the outside corner. The umpire likes to make that call, so you can't argue with that one.
Yeah, and we've noticed that for the past few umpires now. They really like to give that outside pitch, and a lot of these pitchers, it could be tough to locate that outside pitch because so many pitchers are so focused on velocity. And one of the easiest ways for velocity, if you tweak this mechanic, is literally just flying open. Not having that front foot angled at a 45-degree angle pointing towards your arm side to allow a better block. Now these guys, they're going straight on or maybe even a little bit more to allow themselves to get more of a horizontal spin.
That one sent to center field. Tracking it down is Minton in center. And will make the second out.
And because these guys are so spinny, trying to throw it as hard as they can, it then becomes very difficult to paint those corners. Come inside a little bit, go outside, paint that outside corner, because what ends up happening is because they're so spinny, they'll try to get that outside corner, and they'll be super inconsistent with it. They'll throw it way outside, or they'll leave it right down the middle of the plate, and guys will just tee off. So that's where the kind of focus on velocity could really hurt, because you're not focused on going towards the plate. All your momentum going towards the plate, bending that back, going towards, and allowing for a more consistent strike. Instead, they want that high heater and that, that outside pitch and just blow right past guys. And sometimes it just doesn't work.
2 outs, runner on first for Dylan Woolenweber. His night on the mound is over, but not at the plate. That one's sent down to second. Lammers around second, quickly heads for third, and he's in there.
Fantastic, aggressive base running by Jared Lammers. Panthers are harping that in the offseason. Kind of working on it leading up into this game later in the season we're in now, and he was on it immediately. We've seen plenty of balls botched like that earlier in the season. Now that the Panthers are kind of getting their things together, they're attacking plays like that one. The stand-up slide, great job by Lammers. It takes an athletic ability to do that stand-up slide like that. I know I was never able to. And that allows him to quickly make an adjustment, head towards third base, as he knows that the infield's not close enough to be able to catch him down there at third.
Yeah, it's completely changes this at bat for Woolnover. 2 outs instead of a runner on first, a runner on third. Poke that one off the end of the bat and fouled. Two one count. 2 outs. Crucial next pitch. Kick steals outside. 3-1. The 3-1. Inside for ball 4. Runners on the corners. That's 5 walks for Hoochin.
Yeah, unlike Hoochin, he doesn't walk a ton. He only had 1 walk in his last outing.
Yeah, so uncharacteristic. He's had a incredible season coming into this game with, as we said, an ERA of 4.75, 0.457, excuse me, and that's just an incredible stat line.
Yeah, you don't see something like that very often, especially with the inning count he has, 30 2/3 of an inning.
Fakes the throw down to second.
That's the second time the Panthers have done that today. We saw it earlier with Waddell, I believe it was. He just sort of just bounced around in the middle of the infield there, and Summit's like, well, if I throw it down, then the runner on third is going to just go ahead and take it. We're just going to go ahead and give him second base. So the Panthers are starting to pick up on that now. And if they get another situation like that with the first and third, better see a early steal there.
This is outside 1-1 count. Justin Mazza made it all the way to third base off a walk. He advanced on 2 wild pitches. Time called. Swung on and missed. 1-2 for Mazza.
This would be a huge opportunity for Justin Massa just to get some runs on the board. He has 2 right in front of him.
A golden opportunity for Hoochin to try to escape, run free once more. The 1-2. Down low, good take, but a risky take at that. 2-2.
Yeah, I was going to say, it would be very impressive if he can get out of this once more. Bases loaded last time. Now 2 guys in scoring position. And if he can get out of it with no runs across the board, it'll be very impressive and very frustrating for Elder.
Now on a miss outside. 3-2 count once more. We've seen him in this position so many times. Three-two count. The payoff pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. And an escape he does. An absolute heist for Hoochin. We'll take a quick break live on EH Sports. Welcome back to EH Sports here at Jack Adams Stadium as at Summit comes up to bat.
Yeah, last opportunity the Panthers had a score. They had 2 runs in scoring position. Currently left 6 stranded on the bases today. That is not a stat you want to be seeing. Troy's trying to take credit for that one, and he did. You know, and he was the one keeping track.
Why'd you say trying like I didn't do it?
Yeah.
The 0-1. Breaking ball had a lot of movement on it. Comes inside on the hands. Lays off of it.
Yeah, I guess I have to give credit where credit is, I guess, due.
That one will miss outside. 2-1.
Now, I wonder what Smith's pitch count is for today. Currently at 10 pitches so far. Maybe 40? 40? That's a good number.
Miss well outside. Ryan Smith still on the mound. That one poked to center field. Shumley tracks it down.
Now batting, number 5, Rylan Gentry.
That one sent straight up in the air. It just came so weird off the bat. Turned on it a little bit too much. Eric's checking his car.
Yeah. Woo, 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 woo.
It's a recurring theme.
It really is.
Never really changes where he parks either.
No, I don't. You know, I haven't learned my lesson because I haven't faced the consequences yet, so.
Maybe I'll just go hit your car with a bat and just say that it was the ball.
There you go. Mom, Dad, you wouldn't believe what happened. That's a really big mark for a baseball. What's going on?
He had 2. And he did go. Drop third. And he's got it.
A nasty breaking ball there by Ryan Smith. That's something he does a really good job on. Not leaving the ball right down the middle for those 2 strike counts. Just give him a chase pitch. Just let him swing right through it. Swung right through it. It was in the dirt there. Just get that easy strikeout.
Pitch from Smith outside. Fry knew he shouldn't have swung at that one. Fry 1 for 1. Swung and missed for strike 2. 0-2 count, 2 outs. The pitch from Smith. Breaking ball, strike 3. A quick inning for Ryan Smith, and he's having a great start to his outing. Welcome back to Jack Adams Stadium as the Panthers back up to bat. Roger Waddell leads us off. Pitch misses high. Recurring theme for the pitcher there. I want to miss just a bit too far outside. Tried to use that corner, the outside corner, to his advantage, but not close enough. 2-0. Roger Waddell walked in his last at bat in the second. He was stranded on second. Swings hard on that one. 2-1. Two-one pitch. Misses once more. Might have been a little bit too high. 2-2 with no outs.
For how many guys have reached base, I'm so shocked that there's no runs that have been scored.
On a miss inside. And once again, a full count.
74 pitches through 4 innings now.
Full count. Swung on and missed for Roger Waddell for strike 3. So that's back-to-back strikeouts. Mazza at the end of the last inning, and Waddell to kick us off here in the fourth.
We should keep a tally for how many full counts there's been in this game, because there's been a ton.
Charlie Schroeder up the bat. He walked his last at bat as well. That one poked to left field. Might have got him, but what a way and left to cover so much ground. Philibom in left field.
Willie Mays catch out there. They were playing insanely shallow to Schroeder. Did you see that?
And they kind of made up for it with how much ground he covered, but if he didn't, that was gonna be a bad look for playing that shallow.
They were playing very shallow. Like, it's like I've never seen somebody play that shallow against the Elder Panthers so far this year. I mean, it's not like the wind's blowing in, so these guys are able to take it out, but they're like, they haven't hit it far at all today. Let's make them hit it far.
And that's where, as a pitcher, you kind of have to throw to them and make them hit the ball, because you've walked them a decent amount of times. You want to give them the opportunity to hit, and make them stop making you pitch to them, if that made any sense. That misses too far outside.
Yeah, you're saying something about making something out.
Yeah.
Carpentry?
I don't listen to myself when I talk.
I think the captions might have lost you too.
2-0. Hit him right off the back. Man, it sounded like it was hitting a wooden bat.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's definitely gonna feel that.
Kyle Bean wears it. He heads to first.
Now batting number 5, Mason Shumley.
Last at bat in the bottom of the second. He ended the inning with a ground out to short. That was a beautiful backhand play that ended the inning with straining the bases loaded.
Seems like Bean is getting himself a pretty hefty lead. Maybe trying to draw a throw.
1-0 count. The pitch. He'll head to second. Way behind him. Bean knew he should have went there.
Definitely would have been close. Maybe if he was more like Jared Lammers in his last, where he was immediately a pop-up slide. Bean didn't do a quite as good pop-up slide as Jared. Now you got to remember the center fielder was right there on it. He did a perfect job of playing it. That was Dylan Minton out there in center. He perfectly backed him up and he was in a perfect position. So if Bean did decide to go, he would have easily gunned him.
It's all about that pop-up slide. If you can execute it well, you can almost advance like that most of the time. 2-0. This is too far outside. 3-0 count.
Bean hasn't had a whole lot of stolen bases on the year. That's actually, according to my calculations, his first on the year. But he's a very fast dude. Like, he was always known in the weight room for being one of the faster guys on the team, and shocked he was able to be as much of an aggressor on the base paths as some others.
That finds the outside. I don't think Chumley liked it. 3-1. Beware of the 3-2 count.
So, yeah.
Steps off the back.
Trying to freeze Bean out there. A little jumpy.
Yeah, he's kind of jumping back and forth. The 3-1. Bean goes to 3. Nice scoop at third. Misses the tag and a ball 4. Chumley advances to first.
Yeah, very aggressive steal there. And the number one rule of base running is not to run into the third out. And now Bean steals there. Something tells me Coach Thompson gave him the signal to steal because guys don't generally steal third, especially with 2 outs. But Bean had a great jump off of the pitcher. He raised his leg and he just took off. He had a very extensive lead also. They were having a very hard time trying to freeze him over there at second base, and he just took off. Now you got a perfect first and third situation. Summit has done a great job of defending the first and thirds.
Fires back over to first. Chumley back into the bag in time. 2 outs, runners on the corners. See if Hoochin can survive once more. This one make it 3. He has 3 straight innings of escaping. That one swung on fouled. Last inning is the same situation of first and third. Ended in a strikeout. How to find the zone, 0-2. Turned on the other way. And finally, that run that has evaded him so long will score. Bean from third.
Now you finally punched through. You finally broke the ice. Wonder if he can start melting away a win. Get a few series of runs here. And now Jack Rosenacker stepping up to the plate with some momentum behind him. You finally broke through the ice. Finally have your first run on the board. Now it's time to just let the domino fall.
Yep, so the ice broke into the bottom of the 4th. See if a 2-out rally can get going. Runners on first and second.
Hoochin's at 88 pitches now.
Runners go to third. Bad throw on the other side of the bag. Both runners advance.
Panthers are just bullying Fry right now, just stealing bags on bags on bags. They're like, we're fast. You can't stop us. Fry hasn't been able to do so. He hasn't been able to establish himself as a catcher and saying to teams, hey, you're not going to be stealing on me today. Well, the Panthers are like, well, you're not going to be catching me.
The 1-0. Swung on. Gets through. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. And it's going to be a double. Jack Rosenacker, a 2-run double.
From no runs, leaving guys on bases, to now 3 on the board.
Truly an avalanche of runs here in the bottom of the fourth.
The dominoes are falling, and they're falling quick. Great job by Rosenacker. Barely squeaked it by, too.
Now Carson Smith looking to kind of redeem himself. He's 0 for 2 on the day. First count to Smith. Finds the outside corner, 0-1. It'll be interesting to see if Rosenacker gets the signal to steal third. Done it twice already.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
The 0-1. Poke to right center. That will drop. Rosenacker rounds third, heads for home. Smith heads to second. A stand-up double and an RBI.
Now you cannot stop the snowball from gaining momentum. The Panthers are just running away from it now.
So Smith and Rosenacker trade places. Carson Smith now on second.
Seems like the coach for Summit Country Day is going to step out and take out their starting pitcher potentially. Yep, they are.
So we'll let the new kid get warmed up. We'll be back with a little bit more on the new pitcher when we come back. Welcome back to Jack Adams Stadium. Rylan Gentry, the new pitcher for Summit. He's got 9.1 innings pitched with a 1.50 ERA with 19 strikeouts and a whip of .857. Pretty solid as that one goes behind the batter.
last time Gentry was on the bump was Thursday, April 30th against the Roger Bacon Spartans, where Summit fell 2-1. Came in relief to close out the game. 1 inning pitched, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. 0 runs allowed.
That one sent up into the air. Still stay in play, but in foul territory. Caught by Huchin at third, subbing out from the mound. So that'll end the inning, but the damage is done. 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th. We'll take a quick break live on AH Sports. Welcome back to Jack Adams Stadium. Some changes in the field. Actually, only at first. Tucker Veldhouse subs in for Charlie Schroeder over at first base. Ryan Smith still on the bump. He's only had 19 pitches. Came in, I believe, the top of the 2nd. That one sent straight up in the air, will not leave the infield. Called by the second baseman Lammers, and he makes the play. That could have been catastrophic because I didn't hear any talking out there.
I'm sure we've all seen that one replay, or the one low light from the Reds, maybe, 8 years back, 9 years back, with the ball just falling in the middle of the infield. And the reason why is that's a difficult play. It's straight up in the air. You've got 4 guys crashing down in on it, and even Major League guys will mess it up sometimes. So it just shows the quality of communication that these Panther infielders have. Because they practice those all the time. They have a pitching machine at the plate, and they'll just shoot it straight up in the air. They'll shoot it to each individual position, in-betweeners, in between the outfield and the infield. Work on those communication skills because it comes in handy.
It's such an important thing in baseball is communication. People really don't see it that much or think about it that often, but it really makes or breaks a team. If you're working as a gel and communicating well, you're going to be a great baseball team.
And there's one thing that Coach Thompson is very meticulous about, is how you call the baseball. He's always worried about saying mine, mine, mine. You might hear, I got it, I got it, got it. That's a very common thing to say, I got it. But he's always like, nope, that's 3 syllables. This is just 1. This is much more simpler, much more efficient.
That one got him a nice breaking ball on the outside of the plate for strike 3, swinging. Quickly with 2 outs. Dylan Minton, the 9-hole hitter, struck out in his last at bat, which was in the 2nd inning. That one flipped off. Hits the middle pole once again. Haven't seen that at all season, but we see it twice today.
Now that you point that out, no, we haven't seen it. It'd be very apparent when you would see it.
Yeah. Dong.
In sync.
That one, foul ball.
Barely.
I mean, I would not change anything about that swing. Just straighten it out just a hair more.
No, that was like inches. That's like where you see on those tennis replays
Mhm.
where they show the court and then they have the shadow. Like you could, that'd be perfect for this situation.
Oh.
Duh.
The 0-2 from Smith. Breaking ball. Got him for strike 3. Got him looking.
Nobody is touching that.
Beautiful breaking ball. As we take a quick break. Live on EH Sports and Fox 19.3. Welcome back. Leading off for the Elder Panthers, Justin Mazza. He walked and made it all the way to the third in the bottom of the second, then struck out in the bottom of the third. He's back up to bat to lead off the top of the fifth, the bottom of the fifth, excuse me. Breaking ball. Beautiful pitch on the outside corner. 0-1.
Leading up into this game, Massa batting .321 through 28 at-bats. Also an on-base percentage of .537. That's one of the highest for the Panthers.
Oh, way outside. I think a runner was wishing there was somebody on base because that would have been an easy bag.
Massa was a very dominant aspect for the Panthers JV squad last year. Everybody knew because there was 5 guys, 5 freshmen moved up on JV last year.
That one's turned on to right field. Rich under it, had to cover a lot of ground, but makes the play.
Yeah, but there was 5 very talented guys who ended up on JV at the beginning of the season last year. And Massa was the one that ended up sticking up amongst the bunch. All of them were very talented. All of them probably could do damage on the varsity level. But it's Massa who's really, stepped up his freshman and sophomore year, and he's going to be quite the aspect to this Panther squad in the next 2 years. But also Johnny Dussault, he was batting, I believe, .620-something going into the last couple weeks of the season. So we talked about Wollenweber batting 1,000 through 3. He's been batting and about 600 through the next couple games. This kid was doing it 2/3 of the way through the season. So he ended up being brought up on JV for a couple games towards the end. A lot of young talent at the sophomore level.
On the other end of the spectrum, the veteran, senior, Roger Waddell. 2-1 count. The pitch. Misses low. 3-1, the hitter's count. The 3-1 pitch. Ooh, not by much for ball 4.
Now batting, number 40, Tucker Feldhouse.
Tucker Veldhouse subbing in for Charlie Schroeder over at first in the field and on the lineup for batting. And that one hits him on the first pitch he sees.
Now Veldhouse is saying, "Thank you for throwing a breaking ball when you're gonna hit me in the back."
Now batting, number 8, Kyle Reed.
Kyle Bean was the first to start the avalanche of runs in the bottom of the 4th. He was hit by a pitch and made it all the way around the bases. Let's see if that continues. Get back on base. Gentry staring down second. Goes to the plate way outside.
Now this is a very weird side note, but I wonder what Kyle's middle name is. Because if you look at his initials, it'll be the KGB if it's like George or something like that. That'll be a nickname.
That's very random. I came out of left field.
Right over there next to the flag.
1-0. Outside. What made you come out?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
No, because I was thinking, so Office references are always going through my head. And my mom can attest to this for sure. But there's this one scene where Dwight, this is quite the ramble. But Dwight, he says this joke of knock knock, who's there? The KGB. And when right before the guy's about to say the KGB who, he'll slap him across the face and the KGB will wait for no one.
We will ask the questions.
We will ask the questions.
Don't worry, I got him in the
Oh
back
yeah, you
pocket
got
too.
him. You got him.
Steps off the back, throws it to short. I think called a balk.
Yeah, that is very well a balk.
What's going on?
Yeah, so what the rule is there is that this is a whole thing in the MLB. It's actually a very relevant story. You have to throw towards a bag. Now, the shortstop was not at the bag. You have to throw towards second base. Shortstop's playing in his position. And now remember, a balk, you do not have to throw to second base if you move towards second base. Even though he didn't step off, he doesn't have to throw it to second. To first, however, he would. If he didn't step off then throw, then he would be forced to throw. Now, he was kind of messed up with the rules there, and he thought he had to throw it to second base, so instead he throws it to his shortstop. Well, a shortstop is not at second base, so that technically is a balk. Now, there's a lot of speculation in the MLB right now because players are starting to be really crafty about duking out that runner at first base. They'll kind of jump towards first base, try to juke him back, try to have him step back, and then as they're stepping towards second, they'll grab the ball right next to the runner and then tag him so he has no time to get back to the bag. Now everybody's like, hold up, wait a minute. You can't do that. You can't, go right next to the runner. He has to throw it to the bag. And now there's a whole bunch of rule changes trying to figure out at what point is it too far off the bag you can be.
Runners go, fouled off on 3-2 count.
Yeah, I can see the Panthers being very aggressive here because you don't want to roll over into double play. And now that the Panthers have stolen bags so frequently so far today, they're not very hesitant anymore.
Steps off, and now he knows that he doesn't have to throw it back over to second.
Yeah, learned his lesson after the almost and probably could have been a balk.
The payoff pitch. Fouled once more. He's still late on it.
I already know some kids are going to come up to me at school tomorrow and be like, "What were you talking about, the KJV?"
Full count, part 3. Steps off back to second once more. Safe.
Oh, that was close. That was really close. And that was a perfect throw over by Gentry.
Great tag as well by Miller.
Yeah, it doesn't get much closer to that. And Waddell's saying, we got to be a little more careful now.
The payoff pitch. Runners go. Lost the ball on the transfer. Bean will walk. Bases are loaded.
Now that is frustrating as a catcher, and I'm sure his catching coach as well. It would have been close having Waddell over there at third, but he's given up way too many stolen bases today.
So a quick little mound visit. Nerds working in the pen. Take a quick break here on EH Sports. Welcome back at Jack Adams Stadium. We got a quick replay to look at the last play. The catcher's throw, he kind of lost it on the transfer and definitely had a chance if he was able to get it on the transfer to get Waddell out at third, but instead we have bases loaded for Mason Chumley.
Yeah, 1 out, and with the bases loaded, that double play is still in motion.
Foul tip. So the last time we saw a bases loaded situation, it was Kyle Bean up to bat. He struck out, and then Mason Chumley grounded out with 1 out. So hopefully not a repeat.
Was that in the second inning?
Yes.
Yeah, those 2 back-to-back innings, very frustrating. Luckily, the Panthers were able to bounce back in that fourth, knock through some runs.
And that's 3 off the pole. Just going to say.
That's a very good stat there. We should plug it in the game changer.
0-2, 1 out. Gotta have a 2-strike mentality at the plate here. Pitch. Fouled. They go 2. That one in the other batter's box. 1-2 count. One, two. Whew. Risky take there from Chumley.
Close.
2-2.
Not the takes you want to be taking with 2 strikes for sure. And you were saying this earlier, Troy, the 2-strike approach. Harping on that 2-strike approach, and that's where it's coming into play now. Chumley got bailed out. Something tells me he doesn't have another get-out-of-jail-free card in his back pocket.
Two. Swung on. 6-4. Fires over to the first baseman, but not in time. 1 run will score.
Yeah, it seemed like Reinhardt kind of bobbled it there at second base. Not a quick enough transfer, and then ended up bouncing it, throwing it to first.
Now batting, number 30, Jared.
What could have been a double play ends up turning into an RBI with the fielder's choice for Mason Chumley.
Jared Lambert's got runners on the corners with 2 outs. Strike called on the outside corner. Might have been a little bit too outside. The umpire has been calling that outside pitch all game long.
Yeah, but that time it was a little bit too far outside, I'd say.
0-1. Runners on second and third. Chumley did advance.
Yeah, just taking those free steals.
Chopped that one foul. Such a weird way to come off the bat.
Yeah,
Kinda like a
wasn't
golf
full-
swing.
Yeah,
Okay.
wasn't fully committed there. Just trying to make some sort of contact. Luckily for Lammers, it didn't end up in fair territory.
O2 count. Steps off the back. Gavin Miller looking to get out of this inning with only giving up 1 run. That one poked foul into the netting.
Miller so far this year, 18 innings pitched, 4.28 ERA, 1.83 WHIP. Also has 22 strikeouts on the year. Pretty good strikeout to inning ratio.
They go 2. Swung on. Sent to third. Huchin fires, makes the play. Set from the mound to third base. He makes the final out at the bottom of the 5th, and Summit holds the Panthers to only 1 run in the bottom of the 5th. We'll take a quick break live on EH Sports. Welcome back. Ryan Smith still on the bump. Sent first pitch to center field. Chumley tracks it down, makes the play. He's been flawless out there in center.
Another player that's been flawless, Ryan Smith. He's kind of had a few rough outings, kind of bouncing back and forth. Today, he's been on point. He's been getting quick at bats, being very efficient with his pitches. Getting some swings and misses as well. 4 strikeouts in the day so far.
On a miss just low. 1-0. The 1-0 pitch. Misses low as well. Two-0 pitch. Finally finds it. That one sent straight up in the air, off the top of the bat. Veldhouse tracks it down, makes the play.
Dangerously close to the line.
Now batting, number 21, Lucas Reeder.
Lucas Reeder. Off the bat, he had that triple in the first inning, but was stranded there. Oh, 1. Pitch in the dirt. 1-1 count with 2 outs, nobody on. Kick, steals. This is just inside. Reeder wanted to pull the trigger on it, just a little bit too inside. Knew he would have jammed himself. Bounces off the dirt, heads straight into the backstop. 3-1. Sung on, sent to Chumley, and he makes a nice play. Mason Chumley, 2 outs in the inning, and a flawless game so far in center. That's 2 straight, 3 up, 3 down innings for the Panthers. Take a quick break, live on EH Sports. Jack Rosenacker leads us off for the Panthers. in the dirt for ball one. One found the corner. Definitely a tightrope pitch. On the inside as well, but not called a strike. 2-1.
It'd be good for Miller here just to get 3 up, 3 down, and just give his guys the bat again because they don't have much momentum going into these last couple innings.
2-1 misses outside. Hitters count 3-1 to Jack Rosenacker. That's ball 4 on 5 pitches. As Rosenacker will make that jog over to first.
Now batting, number 20, Carson Smith.
Throws over to first, close, but in time.
Yeah, Miller's keeping it in the back of his mind. He says, hey, there's some fast Panthers out in the bump right now, or the base paths, I should say. We got to keep them on their toes because we know that they're liking to steal so far. And we got to keep throwing them over.
Throw it back over to him again, 2 straight times. Smith pulls back a bunt. Strike called on the pitch. Haven't seen a single bunt in this game for the Panthers. That's kind of uncharacteristic.
Yeah, you'd always like to see at least one. It seems like Smith was trying to get a bunt there, get the guy over.
Yo, 1. Breaking ball swung on to the left field line. It's a fair ball. Rosenacker will round third. He's got the signal to go home. Smith will stay at second. It's a stand-up run. And an RBI double for Jack Rosenacker, his second of the game. Excuse me, Carson Smith. Rosenacker will score.
Now batting, number 21.
Smith coming off of the failed bunt attempt. He ropes that one down the line.
Smith at second. Dylan Woolweber up to bat. That one misses high. The 1-0. Finds us the top of the zone, 1-1.
Now, there was some action up in the bullpen earlier. It seemed like Luke Rell was warming up. I wonder if they'll keep Smith in or not.
I would imagine so. He's pitched most of this game.
But you also got to remember, you got to save him for playoffs as well.
That one's through. Finds a hole. Carson Smith will now round third. Heads for home. And I'm not mistaken on that one. Carson Smith finds his way home.
Now the Panther bats are rolling, and Miller can't do anything to stop him. Weber just rolls it right over. Seeing eye singles all day. We've seen it in the first few innings, and we see it here now. Just gets just beyond the reach of the 2 infielders.
That one tops it. Heads to second first. Throws over to first. Not in time. So they get the lead runner, but can't turn the double play. It's a huge rollover. Got really on top of it for Mazza.
Yeah, any chopper back out to the pitcher just a little bit faster would have been out. The Silver Knights did a great job of turning two there, but Massa just outstrode him.
That one turned on to left field, but just died in the air. I thought it had a lot more power on it, and Philbaum makes the play. So 2 outs. Maz on first. Tucker Veldhouse up to bat. Check swing, but a strike called on the pitch. They won. Swung on, sent to second. Reinhard quickly makes the play. And now, some work to do for Summit Country Day. They need 7 to keep on playing. Top of the 7th coming up next. Welcome back to Jack Adams Stadium. Luke Rell subs in for Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith had an incredible outing, coming in for, I believe, for Dylan Woolover, I believe in the 2nd inning, and he pitched an absolute gem.
He not just a gem, he pitched perfect. It was pitch perfect up here. He 13 up, 13 down.
Yeah, that's an impressive stat line.
Now it's only what was it? 3.5, 4 innings. But still, that's an incredible outing for Ryan Smith. Now they're like, all right, let's give Luke Rell just some reps here, because these games right now, because the bracket's already out for playoffs, so these games don't determine your seeding. So it's really, hey, we want to be competitive. We want to win these games, but we also got to give our starters and the guys who will be leading us through the playoffs, we got to give them some reps, give them some warm-ups here.
Strike one. 0-1 count. Finds the zone. 2 straight strikes on 2 pitches. The 0-2. Breaking ball. Got him for strike 3 looking. That's 14 up, 14 down.
The Panthers playing perfectly except for the first couple.
Yeah, the perfect streak started in the top of the 3rd. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That'll find the outside corner. 0-1 count to Gentry. The pitch topped, sent straight up in the air. Gonna be tough for Waddell. Got him.
Now, the last home game for the Panthers, Waddell got a lot of hits right at him. He made a ton of plays like that one. And, you know, those plays, he makes them look routine. They're not. Chopper right up the middle, kind of caught on the fringe there. Waddell has to have that smooth transfer. Fires over to first base for the clean play.
That's quickly 2 outs. Fry batting with their last out. Pitch sent. Andriaco on second to end it. He's there. Great running from Fry.
Now batting, number 17, Cole Minor.
There's a reason why Fry is a fast food. And he just showed it right there. Fast. That's awesome. Fast on the base pass.
Oh my goodness.
The Eric Mason punch.
I just collapsed when I heard that. Fresh count to Reinhard. Finds the outside corner. That's been a consistent call. I think there's no point in arguing now. That's what his strike zone is. That one a little bit too far outside for the umpire's liking. 1-1. One, 2 outs, runner on first. The pitch from Rell. Swung on, sent to right. A lot of ground to cover from Massa, but that should do it. The Panthers storm past Summit Country Day, and they remain undefeated in the series and program history. 6-0 and a 7-0 win in the 6th installment. What a game. And I think this game is built off the back of a 4 spot in the bottom of the 4th and an absolute gem from Ryan Smith.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the Panther offense, they were putting guys on, couldn't score them. Eventually, in the 4th, they broke through. They got that Pittsburgh area code up on the scoreboard right now, 4-1-2 for the 4, 5, 6 innings. Once they broke the ice, they were able to get it rolling. They were able to score some runs, and they kept the offense going. And Ryan Smith right behind Wollenweber, who's doing an outstanding job. It was more so just to, give other guys opportunities. Ryan Smith comes in behind him, pitches a gem, pitches perfectly, 13 up, 13 down. Rell nearly continued the perfection, allowed the infield single, I guess you could say there, in the 7th. But still, goose eggs across the board. Shutout for the Panthers, and it was a great win today.
Yeah, combined shutout through Wollenweber, Smith, and Rell to close it out. And as we see Coach Thompson, this is win number 699, correct?
Yep,
So
699.
that's an impressive stat. So the next game
Tomorrow
could be the deciding factor. Tune into that one to possibly see history with Coach Thompson. Next game is against Ross tomorrow, and that could be history for Coach Thompson for his 700th win, possible tomorrow. Make sure to tune into that, but that's all I got here for you tonight. Thank you for joining us here on EH Sports, everyone. Thanks everyone back in the studio and up here in the press box. I've been Troy Parker alongside Eric Mason. Have a good night.